My name's Paul Mason. I'm Programming Team Leader at the Cancer Research UK Clinical Trials Unit at the University of Birmingham. So I run a software development team basically that supports clinical trialists, the trial management teams, and we have interactions with biological research projects and programs. Sort of in and around the university and the hospital. The main thing we've been dealing with, that I've been sort of interacting with just about everybody in every way, but the main thing I've been dealing with is the ITB2 side of the project, because that's the real selling point of the entire project. That's where all the outputs really come to a conclusion. And what we've been really looking at there is where the holes are in the process of getting data into ITB2. What is needed to get data into ITB2, and really identifying if there are any holes there. The Brisket model has direct integration through CiviCRM, through Onyx to get data in. But if you're porting NHS datasets into ITB2, how does that get addressed? How do any other kind of external datasets like those coming from our systems, how do they get addressed, and what are the issues surrounding that? We have found a few limitations, and I think we've made some pretty reasonable progress. I mean, at the moment, we've got two people trying to get two different types of dataset. One an NHS dataset, a HES dataset, and one person trying to address a clinical trials unit dataset, an example dataset, and they pose their own issues. I think what we're getting across to the Brisket team is that at the moment they're being addressed in quite a manual fashion, and they are. They're doing that, but in the future there would have to be tools. In turn, we're sort of taking away from this the fact that the kind of knowledge bases that's needed to operate these systems doesn't, it's not just something where a bunch of programmers are going to drop a technology stack and then just let people get on and use it. There is an actual informatics interaction there. We are looking at the curation of ontologies, being able to cherry pick parts of terminologies like SNOMED, like the NCI thesaurus, and being able to sort of mix and match those ontologies with the data. It looks like there are going to have to be some tools developed to help make sure that there is actually there is actually sort of validation between those two, between the concepts and the actual data. But again, that's part and parcel of the learning curve. That's what the Hack program is all about, essentially. It's very interesting to talk to Tim about the ontology development, the metadata development, and he was quite very informative in terms of what's been done there so far. And in fact, it became necessary to go and talk to him about what kind of standards were going to be needed to be able to work with those tools with ITB2. So he sort of helped informed us on that one. In terms of I think the next most sort of interesting thing for me was partly talking to Ollie and I've forgotten the name, is in charge of the respiratory program. But anyway, those two guys about the CiviCRM and RedCap in particular. And talking about sort of polishing off CiviCRM and getting the user interface to have different ways of being able to register and manage studies, patients, and other contacts as well. But also talking to them about the information, talking to them about the information security side of things, which is very much it's a broad topic and generally seen as a managerial topic, but actually does go down to the detail of being able to verify and validate test systems. Because at some point somebody's going to come along and say, you're going to have to prove reproducibility in your systems. You're going to have to prove that you've done some kind of capacity testing, load testing, things like that. So that was quite interesting to sort of have a chat with them. And it was also quite interesting to sort of just have a quick look at what's going on with this barcoding business, and which is obviously a pure programmer sort of territory. So I kind of looked at them and sort of went, okay, fair enough. Sort of landed up walking off in there. But Brisket, in as far as I'm aware, is the best project in this particular area. They've taken a good idea. They've taken a very pragmatic view of it. I mean, for them, for sustainability in Brisket, the key thing is to get critical mass, and there really the main thing is to get buy-in from the different stakeholders. Critically, you know, the critical player in this is the hospital, and making it, and trying to persuade them to commit to this and to commit to the future of this. Another key person, another key group are, you know, the hierarchy at NIHR and in the NHS, because obviously infrastructure for these biological research units is, you know, is something that is, it's not very, you know, the distribution of infrastructure is not particularly good at the moment, and informatics is probably one of the weakest areas. You know, there's a lot of people kind of DIYing or just not doing anything at all. You know, in Brisket, you've got a damn good project that's being run by, you know, you've got a great skill set, you've got a great set of project managers and investigators there. So, you know, you sort of, you know, to a certain degree, I think Brisket has to have a little bit of faith in its own provenance. Really, it's them doing the right things in the right ways. Other than that, you know, it's the you know, hoping that the funders will actually sort of fund it in the long-term future. But hopefully, this is really where the NIHR should step in, ideally. But in terms of the sustainability is within their own hands if they tick the boxes that UHL need them to tick. Then to a certain degree that will, the project will attain a life of its own.